Hello and welcome to Think Watercolour. Today I want to demonstrate another example of painting with just three colours. Also I want to show how I paint reflected highlights to add depth and volume to shiny subjects. For this still life with three mackerel, the three colours I used were Cerulean Blue, Yellow Ochre and Neutral Tint. So let me show you how I did this painting. I started with a simplified pencil sketch, keeping the marks to a minimum. I like to just have the sketch as a guide and not a detailed drawing to colour in. If you do that, the painting will lack spontaneity. My first wash is Cerulean Blue with a tiny amount of neutral tint to grey the blue slightly. This first wash defines the basic shapes of the fish, and I'm being careful not to paint where the reflections are, so just going around those. Just as an aside, one of the reasons I do these demonstrations is to paint a variety of subjects and just show the way that I do things. I'm not trying to lecture people or tell them there's a right or wrong way of doing things. It's just my way of passing on years and years of experience and knowledge, and hopefully it will help people who are struggling to achieve things in their watercolours. For the underbelly of the fish, I used yellow ochre with a small amount of cerulean blue to give it a slightly green hue. And I used clean water just to soften and blend the edges. All helps to create a feeling of three dimensions to the fish. I've added more neutral tint to the blue mix for a darker hue to begin adding detail around the heads and the gills of the fish. Slowly building up from the lightest light to the darkest dark, and as I paint the darker shapes of the eyes and the mouth, you'll see that the three-dimensionality starts to come together. Thinking about the rights and wrongs of painting in watercolour, there are some basics that you should be aware of, such as backgrounds and cauliflowers, and it's worth learning about these things. There are plenty of videos on YouTube talking about them, but even those things can be used to your advantage. It's all about practice and getting to know your palette and how the colours work together and react. Next, I painted the markings on the bodies of the fish, again being careful to leave the reflected areas initially unpainted, and then adding markings in the reflected areas in a lighter hue to enhance the illusion of the reflection. At the end of the day, it's just a piece of paper and some coloured water. If you mess things up, just start again. The fins and the details around the eyes and the mouth of the fish were painted with pretty much pure neutral tint. Perhaps a little bit of blue in it, but mainly neutral tint. And when you start putting the darker darks in, the three-dimensionality starts to really come together. And those darker fins help to make that reflected strip look even lighter. Always remember, there's no right or wrong way to paint with watercolours. You just have to practice and practice and find your own style, and you'll eventually get there. The underpainting for the tail fins is thin wash of yellow ochre, and once dry, just adding some neutral tint just to define the fins. They're semi-transparent, the fins, so that's the idea of using the underpainting of yellow ochre first. For the final touch, just putting a little bit of shadow under the body of each fish and just gently blending it with some clean water. Again, it adds to the three-dimensionality of the painting. A few highlights on the eyes just to line up with the reflection along the body of each fish. Just helps creates that illusion of that reflection. And I think I'm done. I hope you found this demonstration useful. Painting reflections is fairly straightforward on shiny subjects like this. If you liked the video, do give it a like. It's always helpful with YouTube. Please subscribe if you're not a subscriber and hit the notification bell for future videos. And thanks again for watching.